Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Yonkerman, and for my Electronic Media and Society class at Metropolitan State University of Denver, I will be discussing one major media theory. Today, the theory I will be discussing is narrowcasting. Well, where do we start? First of all, what is narrowcasting? Well, the definition according to Wikipedia is this. Also called niche marketing or target marketing, narrowcasting involves aiming media messages at specific segments of the public defined by values, preferences, demographic attributes, and/or subscription. Narrowcasting is based on the postmodern idea that mass audiences do not exist. Another definition I found is transmitting a television program, especially by cable or otherwise disseminate information to a comparatively small audience defined by special interest or geographical location. But where did this theory come from exactly? From what I've found, it was first mentioned when referring to subscription radio programs in the late 1940s. The term narrowcast was used to differentiate these programs from broadcast radio, which was open and available to everyone. The next time this term was used was when it was coined by a man named J.C.R. Lidleiter, who was an American psychologist and computer scientist. He said, quote, "A multiplicity of television networks aimed at serving the needs of smaller, specialized audiences. Here," stated Licklider, "I should like to coin the term narrowcasting, using it to emphasize the rejection or dissolution of the constraints imposed by commitment to a monolithic mass appeal broadcast approach." So now that we have clearly defined the term narrowcasting and its origins, let's look at some of the many examples in today's society. Here we have some examples of television programs and networks that use narrowcasting to appeal to specific kinds of audiences. For example, ESPN is a network that focuses entirely on sports. We also have esports, which is an excellent example of narrowcasting within that network, ESPN, as it takes something a little more broad, such as sports, and narrows it down even further to only focus on video game and online sports, also known as esports. We also have networks such as Animal Planet, Sci-Fi, and HGTV, all channels geared toward a certain kind of audience with a certain kind of taste. MTV is a network focused on teenagers. Their show Next is more specifically focused towards teens and dating, while Say Yes to the Dress is geared towards women who are thinking about marriage. Forged in Fire is geared towards welders, gamers, and people who have a love for medieval fantasy as well as historical weaponry. In my personal opinion, however, one of the best examples of narrowcasting would have to be cult television. Here are just a few examples of cult television shows that have had a profound impact on media culture. Because of the growing popularity of cult television, many of these shows, such as Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, and Lost, have made it beyond the niche crowd and have become mainstream, while others survive primarily on their small yet extremely loyal cult followings. Star Trek was one of, if not the first major cult TV show in the United States. It only lasted 3 seasons and originally only had a very small fan base. However, Star Trek went on to influence society, culture, media, and even technology in unbelievable ways. This narrowcast niche show led to the development of the cell phone, more specifically the flip phone. It has inspired the boom of fan and slash fiction, as well as arguably laying the foundation for every cult show that followed. Doctor Who, Sherlock Holmes, and Supernatural, which have the combined fan-given name of Super Wholock, have a major cult following of very specific kinds of viewers. They are not mainstream television, yet Supernatural, for example, won People's Choice Awards last year for Best Sci-Fi Show on Network TV, and the stars of that show won a position on the cover of Entertainment Weekly, all because of the strength and influence of its very small, yet very dedicated fan base. There's also another form of narrowcasting that we have yet to talk about, and that's targeted advertising. Have you ever been on Facebook or YouTube and noticed that the ads on the side of the page or before the video you're watching seem to be specifically targeting your interests? That's because that's exactly what they're doing. Marketers find out what you like through your web searches, the videos you watch, and the things you post about, and they use those to send very specific advertisements that surround things that may pertain to you specifically. Some of the original versions of targeted ads were simply ads that appeared on television and were based on what time and what channel you were watching. For example, during the middle of the day on a weekday, shows that appealed to stay at home women and young adults who may be potential college students would air constantly. But the newer concept of online targeted ads has changed the marketing world drastically. Now your phone can track what stores you shop at. Walmart and Amazon can give you information on sales and products that they know you've bought or looked at before. As targeted ads become more advanced and more capable, marketers can learn more about our individual lives, goals, and interests. The world of narrowcast media marketing just keeps growing more and more, and it's becoming a part of every moment of our lives that we spend connected to the internet, whether through our phones, even when we aren't using them, or at home when we're just sitting at our computers. Even now, it's become just a normal part of our lives, and most people don't think twice about seeing that ad for free trial yoga classes after they just bought a yoga mat at Target. As these examples have shown, narrowcasting has plenty of strengths, especially for marketers and producers. Advertisers know exactly who to advertise to. TV shows that would otherwise crash and burn end up lasting years and years or generating millions of dollars due to their own private community that they've successfully targeted through narrowcasting. For consumers like us, this is great because as narrowcasting is used more and more, it becomes easier to find media and consumer products that are perfect for us, even though they may not have mainstream popularity. But it's not all perfect. The technology behind online ads still has some kinks to work out, and not everyone is too thrilled about having their personal lives dissected with everything they do, and it's certainly not easy to avoid for those who prefer to keep their lives and interests private from advertisers. Also, because narrowcasting doesn't appeal to the general public at large, it means that not everyone is going to enjoy that particular piece of media. Companies have to hope that they've found something that generates enough interest and make sure that they know how to find and properly target that specific audience, which can be a real hit and miss sometimes. Overall, though, narrowcasting in our society is definitely growing and shows no signs of slowing down. It will be exciting to see how tactics surrounding narrowcasting changes and evolves as technology improves and more studies on the psychological side of consumerism develop. I hope you've enjoyed this quick overview of narrowcasting in media. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful, targeted ad filled day.